Could you give me an insight on what is the situation right now in Bangalore as of now regarding Disha's arrest? And if you could explain a bit about the protests happening there.
So I have not been to the protest, the one that happened yesterday.
Okay.
That is the main one so far. I think there was one more day before, but it was very last minute. The thing with Disha's arrest is that she is, this is something that a lot of people have also spoken about, but
Right.
people like Disha and me, we are some of the most privileged people in this country in terms of caste, in terms of how much money we have.
Right.
And so someone like Disha getting arrested is literally the example of that no one is spared. Arresting people without having grounds or without an FIR is something that's been happening in this country since forever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's, since it's hitting closer to home, we are getting more aware of it,
Mm-hmm.
which does not mean that it makes it in any sense correct. It's still so entirely messed up.
Right.
And I think in Bangalore, it's just a shock for a lot of young activists.
Mm-hmm.
We had the same thing a year ago where Amulya was jailed.
Right.
And right after Adra was jailed.
Right.
And there is just this pattern that is happening. I remember when we were protesting for CAA,
Mm-hmm.
it was so different from what was happening in Delhi. You had cops
Correct.
there who were literally entering colleges and shooting people and hitting people.
Correct.
And here you have Bangalore cops just chilling in like the sides. Of course, there were police vans, but
Right.
the cops never interfered. It was more of just a keep an eye if something goes wrong.
Right. Right.
But that is changing a lot now. In South India, Karnataka is the only one with a BJP government, like a full BJP government. Disha or
Right.
even Amulya,
Right.
really young women saying one sentence or editing one document.
Mm-hmm.
And when you arrest them, what they're trying to show you is they're trying to instill a sense of fear that any kind of dissent, environmental, social, anything,
Mm-hmm.
anything you say against BJP, you're just going to be arrested. And I think that's the scary part.
Right.
It's just scarier because it's hitting home now. Disha's case, it wasn't the Bangalore cops who arrested. It was the Delhi cops who actually came down and arrested her. So there's just this, like, if Bangalore cops can't exert power the way Delhi cops do, they're very good at sitting back and letting other people do the dirty job.
A few reports and posts I came across, there were a lot of, dialogue going on about how Bangalore police was not aware that Delhi police was coming down and arresting Disha. So how do you look at this whole thing? Do you have any information about this?
This is the first time hearing of it.
Okay.
And I mean, I really don't know the accuracy of it, but
Okay.
if you're really telling me that your colleagues from the capital are coming into your city and arresting one of your residents and you didn't know about it, that reflects really poorly on Bangalore police. I'm sure there's a lot of fear now because when Amulya was arrested, the whole conversation was around what she said.
Correct.
And here you have Disha who literally edited a Google Doc, which is something all of us do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So now it's scarier. It's just anything you do, and you don't even have to say anything. Anything you do can be targeted against. So,
correct. I tried speaking to a lot of people actually, particularly who have maybe worked with Disha before, and a lot of them are very reluctant to speak to media. And one of them actually told me that we don't want to be exposed a lot to the media. So why do you think everyone's avoiding even speaking about this whole thing? Is it the fear, or they do not want to highlight much of Disha's identity? What is it?
As far as I know, it's quite honestly only the fear. Yeah, I mean, fear does set in one way or the other, and especially for young people, it's not just Disha in jail. There are so many people our age, few years older, younger, who have been in jail for criticizing the government. And I don't know, it can be us next.
Yeah, so the whole way this is happening, it could be really intimidating for young activists to raise their voices.
And also it's especially scary because it's things like sedition and UAP. It's not something you're going to get bail and come out on.
Right.
None of us know when Disha is going to be out. So it's not just the fear of going to jail.
Hmm.
It's the fear of spending the rest of your life in there.
Vaishnavi, as a youth of the country, from your lens, what is the place of dissent in a democracy? How do you see that?
Um, Not protesting or not criticizing government is just, it feels so unnatural. I mean, the situation our country is in now is so much worse than we were even a few years ago in on many aspects, like the environment, the economic aspect, how
Mm-hmm.
we are fragmented on the basis of religion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I If now is not the time to dissent, I don't know when is. A democracy is supposed to be a system of governance for the people and by the people. When you
Right.
remove dissent, you remove the by the people aspect of it. I feel like in India today,
Mm-hmm.
um, it is so much more difficult to align yourself with causes because our problem is not just the government curbing our voices.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ample amount of misinformation that's there. It's a large sections of media, especially legacy media,
Mm-hmm.
putting out fake news, putting out very biased news.
Mm-hmm.
I can't blame the people of this country for not being, in quotes, woke. Most of our country do not have the kind of access to external outside media or independent media. Like even with this whole toolkit thing,
Right.
the word toolkit is what brings fear to people. There's no
Yeah.
understanding of what a toolkit
Yeah.
actually is.
Yeah.
But
True.
it's just this fancy word that sounds like, oh, it's so wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
all
It
over
sounds
internet,
like some
people.
ticking time bomb or something like
Exactly.
that.
That's also probably another reason why young activists don't want to speak. It's just the job gets harder each day. All of us are growing up each year, which means we have financial responsibilities, we have
Hmm.
families.
Hmm.
Of course, a lot of us are not breadwinners,
Yeah.
but we are setting out in our career, and all of this is so much scarier. It's just, okay, even if you're not arrested,
Hmm.
what if someone tags your workplace and asks them to fire you?
Yeah.
They
Correct.
can fire you. So
Hmm.
it's just in every aspect, all around us, anything we see is just being quashed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just easier to stay quiet, even though I know that's not what a lot of people want to do.
Vaishnavi, do you have any information, anything about Disha's family, how they are dealing with it?
As far as I know, it's just Disha and her mom.
Okay.
Um, she's a single parent and she doesn't have siblings. I've seen
Good.
a lot of accounts on Twitter with Disha's sister and friend and all of them creating it. All of
Right.
them are fake.
Okay.
And this is what her lawyer also says,
Okay.
that there is no verified Disha's account on Twitter. I can't even begin to
Yeah.
imagine. Uh, God, yeah, honestly, my heart breaks for her mother. For me, I guess it's easier to digest because Amulya and Aldra were friends.
Yeah.
So I saw this happen with them.
Yeah.
And then I'm seeing it happen all over again with Disha, and it's very personal. And a lot of that also reflects in our legal system. So
Mm-hmm.
now, if you've arrested Disha without an FIR, that too, which is illegal,
Mm-hmm.
the only way anyone can help her is through legal front.
Right.
Like there have been protests, this country has been protesting almost relentlessly since before COVID.
Yeah.
But the only actual way Disha can be released is through a good lawyer and a judge who has some sense.
Right.
But I mean, that's so unreliable now. People have been denied bail on nothing. They've been arrested on nothing. They've been charged with UAP on nothing.
Also, Disha's case comes out as a different case as because in Amulya's case, though they
Mm-hmm.
were arrested and they also went through this traumatic experience, but
Right.
somehow because it was in Bangalore, people feel more in control because
Yeah,
it's the home city. You know the
exactly.
whereabouts, you know how to go about things. Delhi just feels like
Exactly.
a far away land. You feel like you are not at all in control.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
definitely agree. When Amulya was in jail, um, friends went and visited her. We know her family visited her.
Yeah.
I could speak to the friends who visited her and keep a track on how she's doing. I can't imagine how scary it must be for Disha. I just feel like we are forcing our young women to be more and more resilient. and there is only a point till they can go. It doesn't matter whether she's crying in court, it doesn't matter if she's speaking bravely in court. The very fact that she's taken to court over nothing is where the problem is. And I feel like all of us, for us, it has just become one of those, oh yeah, one more person was arrested. It doesn't even shock us as much anymore. So much misinformation about Disha. The fact that her mother is a single parent has been changed to her Disha being a single parent. People have morphed her images into photos of pregnant women. It's even more scary because on one hand you have the government that's trying to suppress you, and then on the other hand you have large parts of your fellow citizens who are happy that you're being quashed like this.